started. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for this session for this year's Teaching and Learning Conference. My name is Stephanie Heald, and I am an assistant professor at the University of Arizona Global Campus, and I am going to be your host for this session, the use of digital badges to enhance student engagement and retention. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC-related materials. Microphones will be muted for this presentation, but we encourage you to post your questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you'd like to use it, click on the live transcription button at the bottom of your Zoom window. I am pleased to announce today's session presenter, Dr. Sherry Swartz. Dr. Swartz is a criminal behavior expert who serves as a faculty lead of the bachelor's and master's programs in criminal justice at the University of Arizona Global Campus. Dr. Swartz has authored and edited multiple college textbooks on criminal behavior and the intersection of the psychology and law of this. She continues to conduct criminal behavior research, as well as how that impacts and what factors impact students' learning, engagement, and retention. She's a frequently invited guest expert on the national crime show Crime Stories with Nancy Grace, an invited lecturer. Phew, that was a lot. An invited lecturer at the judicial trainings on the issues regarding criminal behavior, death penalty, victim advocacy, and other topics at the intersection of psychology and criminal justice systems. Without further ado, I am honored and pleased to turn the microphone over to Dr. Sherry Swartz.
Hey everyone, thank you for coming. I am also joined here by Grayson, my cat, so he may make an appearance and I will apologize in advance for that. My co-researcher, Pamela Murphy, couldn't be here today, but she was and is very much involved in this project. This is a project that we are very grateful for the support of the University Fellows Program at University of Arizona Global Campus. And you might think, based on my intro, that this is research on criminal behavior, but it isn't. It is about my other equal passion for students and student engagement in the classroom, and of course, retention. And so we set out to do this study using digital badges in the classroom because we were looking for ways to increase engagement, to increase student motivation, to retain students in the classroom, in our programs. And part of that is making the learning environment more fun. Right? If students are having fun, they're learning more, and theoretically, they're more engaged. Also to enhance their motivation, but not just the students' motivation, the instructor's motivation as well. And this, I think it'll be clear in a few minutes why this goes a long way toward enhancing instructor motivation, and also to embody University of Arizona Global Campus's culture of care. This is a big part of our mission at University of Arizona Global Campus. We are putting care first in terms of our students, our faculty, our staff, and this just seemed like a really great piece to test out and see how that fits in. Another reason, right, we want to enhance the overall student learning experience by addressing potentially unmet psychological needs. And I don't mean psychological needs in terms of offering counseling to the students, but in terms of their confidence, right, their perceived competence, their autonomy, their really at the heart of it, their belief that they can do it, and to have a sense of relatedness in a social context, particularly in an online classroom where you don't have that face-to-face contact. And of course, student engagement and retention is one of the key elements here. The literature on the use of recognition and on the use of discussion badges it's pretty clear that this is an important piece that needs more research, but there's also research on retention. And universities nationwide have been focused on retention for more than 40 years. we know from the data that what are strong predictors of academic success and retention, of course, are things that are outside of the classroom in many cases, right? Institutional support, financial aid, the overall quality of instruction, which is right in the heart of the classroom. So that's where our piece of research comes in. Other factors, socioeconomic and demographic characteristics, are predictors of academic success and retention. Secondary educational performance, how is the student performing? And of course, how integrated they become in the college environment. Digital badges enhance the ability to recognize students in an online environment. And what the science shows is that it increases student engagement, also the student's sense of achievement. And I'll share a little bit about that with you today about what we're finding so far. Our data collection is still underway, but we have some preliminary findings to share with you. We know that engaging the students is the key to retaining the students. The more engaged someone feels, and this isn't just in the classroom, industrial organizational psychology, the psychology of the workplace shows in study after study that the more engaged employees are, the more likely they are to stay in their jobs, to be, report higher levels of satisfaction. Same concepts with students in the classroom. Abramovich et al. Found that the use of digital badges in online classrooms enhances student performance across the board. So low-performing students appeared to benefit from this external motivator, that badge, which enhance their extrinsic motivation. For high-performing students, they also benefit. It seems to activate a little bit more their intrinsic motivation, right? Because your high-performing students are the ones that are already intrinsically motivated. They have a stronger locus of control, a stronger internal locus of control, such that they know that they will be successful. Where your low-performing students tend to rely more on an external locus of control, that these external factors are what they need. And so they really benefit from this. And that is the key to retaining the low performing students and helping to elicit a better performance from them. However, these researchers concluded that more research is necessary, and that's where our little piece comes in. So we use 3 specific digital educational achievement badges in discussion boards and courses in the BA program in social and criminal justice. So this is an undergraduate program at University of Arizona Global Campus. And we chose these 3. We did not create these badges. We are using these badges courtesy of a faculty member from many years ago who had their open access, and I can share the link with you all if you're interested at the end of the presentation. And there's many more. We chose 3 to keep it relatively simple. So we chose the Discussion Champion Badge, which we awarded for exceptional contributions to class discussion. So this badge in particular is awarded for lots of time on the discussion board, not so much in time in terms of minutes or hours, but multiple times a week on the discussion board. That the initial post, and I should explain that. So on our discussion boards, typically how they go is that there's an initial post that's made earlier in the week, and then students are required to make at least 2 response posts to 2 different peers' initial posts. And so what we were looking for with the Discussion Champion Badge is that students would actually, hopefully, be on the discussion boards more frequently, that they would engage with more than just 2 additional students. They would post their initial post, and then they would hopefully log in several days out of the week and respond to more than just 2, and get involved in discussion with hopefully the instructor, with other students. And that's what the Discussion Champion Badge was for. The Balanced Perspective Badge and the Perspective Badge, there's a distinction here. So balanced perspective is including both sides, right? So if it's, depending on what the discussion board topic is, if the student says, well, in my initial post, this is how I see the issue, and supports their argument, and then goes on, maybe within their initial post, to say, however, the other side says this, this, and this, and this is why they feel this way. It's sort of balanced, but it didn't just have to be in the initial post. This badge would be awarded if the student has their perspective in their initial post, but maybe in a response to a student who has a different point of view, a different perspective, and can see and highlights the benefits of that student's perspective. And then the perspective badge was for students who maybe took the minority viewpoint, the more controversial viewpoint on a given issue, or maybe just had a unique perspective, because it doesn't always have to be a controversial topic. It could be anything in that discussion, and they took a unique perspective that maybe isn't what other students are talking about or what we normally see. And they're looking at the big picture. And so the perspective badge was awarded for that. Our research questions were, is improvement in discussion grades observed from the beginning of the course to the end of the course when students are given the opportunity to earn digital badge recognition? And what effect does the opportunity to earn recognition within a class have on student retention? Oh, sorry, I went too far. Let me go back. And our hypotheses are, discussion grades will improve from the beginning of the course to the end of the course, particularly in courses where there's digital badge recognition, compared to classes with no digital badge recognition. And student retention will improve in classes using digital badge recognition compared to classes where there was no digital badge recognition. So the research design, we have a two-part study. So today I'm talking to you about some preliminary data on part one. We started collecting data in the late part of June, and data collection is still underway. But this is from 6 sections of CRJ 308, which is our Psychology of Criminal Behavior course in the undergraduate program in social and criminal justice at UAGC. And so there's the part one is a quasi experiment. We have the badges condition, where badges are awarded, and the no badges condition, which are 3 sections of CRJ 308 from January 22 to May 22. There's a total of 123 student participants, 55 in the badges condition and 68 in the no badges condition. Part 2 is a qualitative thematic analysis of feedback from participants. I don't have data on that today. I will share with you some of the comments that students are making, whether through messaging the instructor or or on their end of course survey results. So I will share that, but we haven't done any particular analysis yet on that. We basically are asking through a Qualtrics survey, how the students felt about it. We're also going to be sending it out to instructor participants and asking them, how did they feel about this process? Did it make them more motivated in the classroom, or was it, cumbersome? What were the issues with it? Things like that, because we feel there's a lot to be learned there. Now, the procedure, week 1, this is the classroom announcement. And so it goes in course announcements. This is in a Canvas classroom. And it also gets posted as a launch post on the discussion board, or if it's a classroom that has 2 discussion boards in a week, it would be posted on 2 discussion boards. So the CRJ 308 course only has 1 discussion board per week. So it was posted as a launch post on the week 1 discussion board, and also as a classroom announcement where it's introducing the badges. And of course, this is cut off, but it has all 3 badges with the description. And we are telling students what exemplary contributions mean, and that we will announce who was awarded badges at the end of the week, early into the next week. And so this is the announcement and launch post for weeks 2 through 5, because this is a 5-week course. And so we are here telling them, thank you to everybody for participating, and to join me in congratulating the following students who earned recognition badges, right? So there's the badge and then the list of names on the announcement, and then of course as a launch post in the discussion board. So this requires getting into the classroom. The week ends for us on Monday evening. So by Monday evening, it requires looking at, who's been active on the discussion board and kind of getting an idea of who might be earning which badge, who's earning a badge at all, maybe who won't. And then early Tuesday morning, as the week is starting, compiling this, posting it as a course announcement, and posting it as a launch post. So here are some preliminary results, right? And I have it broken down by the badges condition and the no badges condition. The courses are identical, except for the fact that in the badges condition courses, there was the opportunity to earn the badges. They saw the announcements. In the no badges condition, this just wasn't mentioned at all as a possibility. So you'll see that 55 students started in the badges condition classrooms, compared to the no badges condition. There were 68 students that started. By the end of the classes, and this is a total for the 3 classes. By the end of the classes, there were 50 students. So there was 5 that did not complete the class with a 90.91% completion rate. There were 58 at the end of the class in the no badges condition. So 10 did not complete classes over the 3 classes with an 85.29% completion rate. This is encouraging. It's very preliminary, so it's hard to draw any real hard conclusions from it. But I was very excited when I saw this, because it seems to be trending in the direction that we hypothesized that this will have an impact. And I'll discuss some limitations of drawing that conclusion hard and fast today when I get to the discussion section. But to share more results with you all, in the badges condition, the average words per discussion, there's really interesting numbers here. Now, I didn't run an ANOVA yet to see if these are significantly different. Eyeballing it, it doesn't seem that there's a significant difference between the 2 conditions in the average words per discussion, but there's a really interesting trend here, right? Which is positive. This is what we want to see, that the average length of the discussion, and hopefully that correlates with quality of the discussion, increases, right? So week 1, they start off at about 531 words on average. Some were more, some were less. Week 3, it goes up a little bit. And then in week 5, we've got some really substantial posts, initial posts. These are initial posts. In the no badges condition, I thought this was really interesting. In week 1, for the 3 classes, the average words were 527.34. In week 3, it goes up a lot, but right, 561.42. But then look at what happens in week 5. And it's interesting across those 3 classes. I can't wait to see as we collect more data if that's kind of similar. I'm imagining as a student that maybe if you don't have this opportunity to be recognized and you think no one's really watching, that, by week 5, you're exhausted and you are doing what you need to do. You're doing a good post. It's over 500 words. But maybe at that point you kind of feel like, I'm ready. I'm moving on to my next course. I've got to do my final paper. I thought that was interesting. And I didn't put it on the slide, but just to give you a ballpark, I should have put it on the slide. For the discussion responses, what we were seeing is that in both conditions, they're pretty similar. The average words per post were around 80. But they did increase in the badges condition to around 92 words per post. They stayed pretty static in the no badges condition. In terms of average discussion grades, right? So in week 1, the average discussion grade was 80.97. By week 5, it goes up. I think this is significant, but of course I can't say that because I didn't run an ANOVA. But it looks like a pretty big increase. To the students, of course, this is a huge increase because this is a B to a very solid A on their discussion grades, right? For the no badges condition in week 1, grades are about 82. Right. So not a ton of difference here, not a ton of difference in week 3, but it looks like there's a pretty sizable difference. Again, the difference for a student, it's a big deal, right? Because this is a B plus to a very solid A on discussion grades. Overall course GPA, I didn't put this on the slide either, I should have. Was very similar. I don't think we will see that there's a significant difference. And I took that as a positive because to me that shows that the grading isn't being inflated in the badges condition, the overall grading, as opposed to the no badges condition. The average grade in each of the courses was like 85 point something, slightly higher on the decimal points in the badges condition, but it's highly unlikely that it's anything statistically significant. What did I do? Oh, okay. So unsolicited student comments. So this was early on where the students were messaging me in Canvas and or posting on the discussion board and saying, oh, this is really exciting. I haven't seen this before. Thank you. This is really motivating me. So of course, in terms of that part 2 of the study, that's really exciting to me as a faculty member. That makes me want to give out more badges, right? That increases my enjoyment and motivates me too. And that's kind of what we're looking to here. Of course, the students are the primary point of interest here, but we also want the instructors to be engaged because engaged instructors help facilitate engagement in students. From the end of course survey results, these were the comments that I picked up that pertained strictly to the badges, right? And so these are unsolicited. I did not ask students to include in their and of course surveys anything about the badges, but this is part of the data that we are collecting for data analysis in part 2 of the study, right? And so there are students who noticed, there are students who felt better, I guess, about their experience in the classroom. Of course, they attributed it to me, right? That I was going above and beyond to make them feel special by recognizing them for doing a great job on the discussion boards. And I want to say that, yes, I'm a faculty member here. I do a solid job, I think, in the gradebook feedback of really recognizing the students, especially when they go above and beyond. It's not unlike me. I will post in their feedback, like, wow, with 3 explanation points, especially if they've done this really great discussion, and engage with them there. But there probably is something to doing it on the discussion board where it validates their work and does so in front of their peers as well. And I will say too, I should have mentioned this earlier, although I expect to find a correlation with the grades, right? That earning the badge means that these are students who are earning higher grades because of the quality of the work. The post didn't have to be perfect to earn a badge. So sometimes we'll see posts where they didn't include sources, right? Or they didn't include embodied citations, but they have a references list, or vice versa. They have the in-body citations, they don't have references. That impacted their grade. So not everybody that got a badge got an A on their discussion, because we have to follow the rubric in the grading. So this was really just about the content. What is in that post? And how often were you participating on the discussion board? And here's another comment that a student left about implementing this award scheme, which, and to that student's point about a great motivational tool for students to complete their discussion assignments. One of the things that I noted was that students who maybe weren't posting in the beginning of the course, maybe they missed the discussion post, or they did their initial post but not participation responses, made it a point going forward to get on the discussion board, be on the discussion board early, be on there often. And I anticipate that when we do the final data analysis for this, we will be able to show that low performing students were in fact positively impacted by this. That has been my experience in the 3 classes where it has been used so far. And, also that students will feel more motivated to get in there. But I noted that if they got the balanced perspective badge, they got the perspective badge. The goal was to get to the discussion champion badge. And so there was more participation. And so we will, when we complete the study, analyze data for what were the average number of days per week students were in the classroom from week 1 compared to, down the line. So overall, what we're seeing is that discussion grades have improved in the badges condition as compared to the no badges condition. Very exciting. And there were fewer students who dropped out of the courses in the badges condition as compared to the no badges condition. Now, of course, every study has limitations. This study is no exception. One of the limitations in the data that I've shared with you today that won't be a limitation going forward is that these course sections were from 2 different times of the year, right? So the no badges condition was from January through May, and then the badges conditions data started in June through now, early October was the end of the last course where this was implemented. So there might be something based on that, the time of the year. And so going forward, what we will be doing is comparing courses within the same time frame and recruiting more instructors to participate. And of course, this is based on several sections of only one course with one instructor in the program, right? So this is a limitation that, again, will not be a limitation going forward, because we will implement it. We're hoping to implement it in the psychology program as well, so that it's not limited to just one program. So if additional findings are similar, the implications are that the use of digital badge recognition could be a valuable tool in enhancing student engagement and retention. At the very least, the students who are receiving the badges have the opportunity to receive a badge. They seem to benefit those unmet psychological needs on some level, their perceived competence, their autonomy, their belief in their ability to finish and be successful, and to see that the critical review of their work is getting high fives. This makes a difference to them. I think, and in terms of culture of care, I can't think of anything greater than saying to the student directly and indirectly through the use of the badge, hey, I see you. I see you. I see your work. It's outstanding. Questions and discussion.
Dr.
Oh,
Schwartz.
yes.
Go ahead.
Roy, I will, I can send out the badges. hang on, if I stop sharing, I can get the link.
So, Dr. Schwartz, I just want to pop in here and say thank you, because the work that we are doing at the university with the culture of care lends itself so much to your study. And I know personally, I am really excited to see more of the data, specifically how we can increase engagement and motivation for our students. So thank you.
Thank you.
Audience, thank you for joining us this session. We are going to let Dr. Schwartz post her link in the chat.
Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my email, and then anybody who wants to email me, I can send the link, because I don't, of course, I'm a little nervous too. It's so weird because I talk all the time. But this way you guys can email me and I can send you guys the link to the badges if you're interested.
Awesome. Thank you. And I see that in the chat. There's a lot of kudos for you, Dr. Schwartz. So please just continue to keep us posted on how this research plays out. We are very interested in seeing how we can integrate it in our classes, and students, I'm sure, are very interested in how they will receive this. So
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, audience, for joining us today. And we will see you in our next session at the Teaching and Learning Conference. Thank you.
Bye.